How you going, peeps? Yeah, welcome back to Snail TV. On this episode, we're gonna make a fuel tank for the Roll Racing Civic. So let's take a look of what we need to do and what we got. So what I was thinking was, as you can see, it slopes down here, and I was thinking about making that there the surge tank bit. So thinking of just a bit up there, and then coming across. And then yeah, curving it with the back tank. So this will be the fuel tank right here in the center, so finished here and here, and we'll have the dash outlets on either side there. So yeah, I'll show you exactly how I would make the tanks and what stuff I use. So what we've got is a full sheet of 3mm flat alloy over here. What I like to cut it with is the good old Makita circular saw. That there is just a normal wood cutting saw that comes with the thing. That comes with the saw itself. They cut it real nice. Don't need to use anything. It just does the job. And also a jigsaw as well with a decent tooth on it. So the only other thing that I do use sometimes is, have a look, is a cutting disc and wax. Obviously when it's spinning, then you just rub the wax on it, and it cuts through nice easy. But you use wax, you get a lot of contamination. Obviously the wax is now into the alloy, and unfortunately the TIG welders don't like it, and yeah, you end up having little holes, and yeah, it doesn't weld properly, and you'll be be stuck with it all night, unfortunately. So I'm going to turn on my stuff, and we are going to make a tank. This is what I'm going to try to get done tonight on the Roll Racer. That's what we're on. Tank, and also we have a couple of bars for the, we just got a bit of 25-25, got ripped off from Bunnings like I always do, and yeah, got some nuts as well, and we'll make up some seat rails, but we'll make them up after we do tank. I really want to do tank now so I can get some fittings on the weekend and get them welded up as well. But that's what we're up to, peeps. Alright, on the table now, everything's ready to go. Got the TIG welder happening, that's all on. So we can now, take a couple of parts. So first off, would obviously be the sides. Alright, so we find a way to do that. Alright, hardest part, obviously with aluminium, is magnets don't work. So you pretty much have to, if you don't have a jigs, you pretty much just have to make something that works. So give me a second, and I'll get something that works, and I'll get a couple of tacks on. Alright peeps, so we've given it a tack, and that's pretty much how it's fitting. Fits like a glove. I'm loving it. Alright, obviously she's not 100% straight, but I'll straighten it up when I tack the back piece on and the front piece on. But yeah, that's how big the tank is. Obviously I'm gonna have I'll have a center in there, and I reckon I'll have a couple of little tiny slosh little pieces that I'll put in there just so it doesn't slosh back up. Yeah, call it a baffle, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think it's all come up alright so far. Let's get the rest of it tacked up. Got everything tacked up, except for obviously the top piece, but not going to do that yet. Obviously, until I 100% finish up inside. So got the baffle plate done. Obviously, they're all different. You can do it whatever way you want, but the whole idea of it is so it stops the sloshing. So the movement of back and forth, and it, obviously you know what water does, it well, same thing as fuel, it creates a big wave, and then obviously loses where the pickups come from. So that stops the sloshing and keeps it more in that one spot. Now, I was going to do another 2 here. I'm not quite sure because, as you can see down there, it's so deep. So it's such a big surge. It's a massive surge tank. So yeah, I don't think I actually need it because my outlets are gonna be like right on the bottom. So I'll have a quick look at it and make the decision, but I'm pretty sure everything that it should be fine with it. I've just gone around and give it some big tacks. I don't want to put any big welds into it because it starts to pull. Even with little tacks, it starts to distort all the end panels. So you don't want to put massive amounts of heat into a nice flat panel. So just decent tacks on both sides, and that should be fine. So what we're going to do now is get the top lid on. All the insides are right. I can tack up the top lid. Top lid will just stop it from deforming. And then I'm going to weld all the sides up. How you going, peeps? I thought I would just give you a couple of tips of yeah, when welding some TIG. So obviously you can do this with MIG or TIG, but easiest thing is obviously you just tack every you know, a good few inches there, but you come across a couple of times you need to be pretty much butted up against. So if you do a tack and it spreads apart, which it normally does, alloy is really bad for it, just grab yourself a little hammer, and what I like to do is just and now you can see it closes up the gap, and once it closes up the gap, TIG welding is just so much nicer. Alright, so once I TIG it, it's just so much, it'll be nicer. Alright, so as you can see, we're doing alright so far. Okay, come around. Alright, as I said, I'm not a professional, I just like doing this as a hobby. But it's really not hard once you learn just a couple of little basic things. I always do like to put a lot more filler rod in the corners because that's mainly where it leaks from when you after you weld it. And then just here, I just like to just melt it together. And if it needs, I put some filler rod here. I'll just show you on this weld of what I like to do. And then, yeah, as I said, I don't like showing you everything. It's just because it's just, yeah, plain and boring. It's too much to edit. And, yeah, it's just a boring video. So, I'll show you one pass and, yeah, we'll get to it. Alright, so what I like to do on the ends is just fill it a little bit and then just melt it. Alright, so I'll show you that. Alright, so now we fill it, now we melt it. Alright, so we come up as a hole. We started melting it, but we got a hole now, so alright, so you can stop halfway or whatever you want to do. I'll just show you what I'm up to. Alright, so it all looks nice. I haven't burnt through or anything like that. I had a little, sorry about that. I had a little hole here. As I said, I just stopped and then filled it up. So this is why you need it no gaps. Alright, so little gap here. about the little banging bit because you're not going to be able to see that. So if we can just tap them all together a little bit more, now you can see they're very tight, and that's what we want. No gaps at all. All right, so I'll show you the rest of the pass. Alright, so I had a little problem at the end there, I'll just show you why. So, all welded, you can see, it wants to focus. It looks nice, there's nothing wrong with it. So right at the end, it wanted to do that. Why? Because there's no air gap in there. So what it's doing is the tanks, that was the last weld that I've done. And that there is, I forgot my bad, don't worry about it. But obviously if you've got no pinholes anywhere, and that is the last weld, then where's the pressure going to escape from? Is your last little tiny bit of weld. So what I should have done, which I didn't, it's all good though, I'll have to grind this off now and then re-weld it a bit later, but is you cut the hole for your either outlet or your inlet as well, and you have somewhere for the pressure to go before you do the last weld, before. So don't do what I did just then, but do it before. I totally forgot this was the last weld. So yeah, so now I'll just quickly grind it off. I'll drill out like the 2-8s, and then I'm gonna go back over here. All right, fill that up, so then all the pressure will go out of the holes in that side. All right, so we'll get that done now. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly drill out these 2 holes. So if you don't already, step bits are the best thing. As I'm meaning by step bits is they're pretty much a diagonal. So they go from either a 2 or a 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, that sort of thing. Just a lot easier to get a actual proper circle hole. You will notice with a drill bit, you won't actually get a 100% round hole unless you clamp the device and to drill it, or in like a mill. But a step drill will. Alright, cleaned up. Alright, just got it cleaned up. Let's weld it. And yeah, all should be all done. Alright, so clean up on the corner, a lot better now. And yeah, so just a little couple of tips there for you guys. As I said, this ain't no how to, or yeah, don't have to listen to me. I just thought I'll give you some of my tips that I yeah, do some like tanks and all that sort of stuff. But you can do this with obviously with a MIG weld, with alloy. You can do it out of stainless and whatever, but I like to do these things out of alloy and TIG them up. Make them lighter as well, and yeah, the TIG welding is just a lot easier doing it that way, so you don't actually have to put a lot of filler rod into it. So out of this whole tank, I reckon these are my filler rods up here, and I think they're about 1 meter long, right? And I reckon I used maybe 1 and a bit filler rods. All right, so as I said, this ain't a pressured tank. I wouldn't use this for a to hold 2000 psi or anything like that, but just for a petrol tank or a oil tank, something like that, then definitely that'll do the job. All right, so yeah, I'll just flip it around now. We'll quickly pop it in the car and have a look. I'll see how it's come out, but yeah, real nice. So as you can see by all the welds, they're all cleaned up nicely anyway. But yeah, ticked out all the nice beads that you guys want. But as I said in a previous build, that I always paint my stuff anyway. I don't like the raw alloy look. So this will probably be painted up black anyway. And yeah, you won't even see any of the welds because the paint actually covers the welds anyway, and I end up sanding the corners nice and neat. The only reason why you actually really do want the beads is so it's easier to bead it as you're going across to melt it. That's how I find anyway. And yeah, and it's just easier to control. So yeah, for the first time at Tiggers, I know a couple of my mates out there that have just started TIG welding and asked me a few questions, so I hope that helps. If you guys want to know any more about my you know, my basic tips, as I said, I'm not a pro welder or anything like that. I only do this for a hobby. I am a MIG welder, so I'm a boilermaker, but yeah, that's MIG welding. So TIG welding stuff, I've been TIG welding for about probably about 7 years, I reckon. Mine is a SIG Weld 200 AC/DC, and gas is just standard argon gas, nothing special. Welder's really nice though. I did have a little problem with it that I had to fix up, but as you can see with the grinding dust everywhere, it was actually underneath my welding bay, and I've actually moved it back over here just so then out the way, just so that I could get rid of all this dust, because unfortunately I was grinding all over it and I didn't really like that. So as I said, it's all amperage control. You know, 124 amps, that's what I was going on there real quick. But no pulse, that's pulse there. I wasn't using pulse, I was just using standard base. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, anyone can do it, it's not hard. As I said to you just before, make sure you drill out yeah, a little, well, pretty much like an air hole, and let your pressure out. before you do your last weld. That's all right, peeps. Well, there you go. It's all in. Fits really well. I still need to make up a couple of brackets on the side, but I'll do that on another episode. I've just got to waiting for a couple of bits and pieces for it. Come inside. I'll show you what it actually looks inside. Here you go. So yeah, nice and neat. As I said, I've done it to the top of the like the little boot there, so it's come out really nice. Hasn't dipped in too much. Still looks pretty nice. And yeah, we just got to make up a couple of brackets and figure out some stuff. So we really don't want this thing, because it's actually in the actual car, we really don't want anything to happen. So I'll probably end up making some sort of like metal bracing in front of it, just so then it can't actually come up it anyway as well. But in the meanwhile, we'll make up a couple of tabs coming off, some half moons or something, and welding some nuts in the roll cage, and so we can have something to bolt to. But for now, I'm going to keep it like that, just so then we know it's there. I'll quickly make up some tabs on the next one, and we'll get a fill neck. Not sure exactly what I should do with a fill neck, because I don't want to fill it from inside the car. That'll be pretty crap. But because that's my standard fill neck here, my filler, sorry. And it's not, as you can see, it's from down there. Coming out there, it's not high enough to actual fill. So, but yeah, fuel tank, or fuel cell, sorry, as you'd call it, all sweet. I'll get some -8s on the weekend, and they're my 2 outlets, because we have the divider in the center, don't forget, guys. And yeah, come up real nice. All right, so a full sheet of alloy got it from just a Paramount Browns. I could have got a little bit cheaper, but I think it was $195 for a full sheet. Used about 3/4 of it, so give or take about, you know, say $130, let's say. Yeah, 120 bucks, I reckon. A couple of pieces of filler rod, not really much. 2 pieces of filler rod, cheap as chips that stuff is. Tiny bit of gas, and obviously your own time. You come up with your own fuel cell, and it's custom as well. So I could have brought one. With a little tiny in surge tank and all that sort of stuff, but I sort of don't get the it's not the pleasure, but I don't get the point sort of thing of buying just pre-made stuff and just whacking it in there, and you know it doesn't fit properly anyway, because it's not for your car. Those things are the sort of thing you buy it and then you're going to make your car around it. So I like to make my car how I want them, and and go from there. Just like a lot of other things on the cars you would see, is I'll go to the the extra little length of making things fit. So yeah, so for around about that, not even 150 bucks, you've got yourself a fuel cell. 2 -8s, cost you 15 bucks, and I just got to get myself a filler neck, maybe 30 bucks. So under 200 bucks, you're looking at a full made fuel cell. So I'm not going to foam it. I don't need to foam it, because it's got the slosh divider in there, and that'll get rid of that. So that's what the foam's for. And foam disintegrates when you're running ethanols and methanols as well. I've found that lots, unfortunately the bad way. And yeah, and that's it. So any more you guys want to know about making stuff like this, I can show you more. I don't really like to, but I can if you really want to. So yeah, that's fuel cell done. I'll weld up the little tiny little bits and pieces for you guys, and yeah, and I'll mount it all up as well. But yeah, I'll make up another video a bit next time. All right, peeps. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Thanks very much for everyone sharing it around and giving it some likes and stuff. It's going really well at the moment. And yeah, make sure you give me either a thumbs up or a subscribe. And yeah, don't forget to get it out there, and I'll show you some more awesome projects that I've got coming up. I've got a few more ideas, and yeah, make this channel a bit bigger. See you later, guys.